Hello. In this week's video, we want you to think of the questions your audience will ask and put those answers in your presentation before you give it. Here on PowerPoint points. You want to think long and hard about any questions and provide those answers before they ask the questions. It just takes less time doing the presentation. You will get them at all phases of the presentation. We're going to talk later about how you will get questions before you even give the presentation, during the presentation, and even after it. You want to research appropriately. You want to deliver well thought out answers. Be assured of yourself, be professional, be thorough, and be courteous. You want to use figures and examples when necessary. And on this whole issue of questions, you don't want to rush into it. You want to not procrastinate. You want to allow the questions to come to you over hours or days and make your presentation a lot more complete. This will show your real value as a presenter. And you want to always answer the 5 or 6 W's for any type of presentation. The who, what, when, where, how, and why from English class. And we're going to get into those right now. Who is this applicable to? Why should I do this? Why me? Why not me? What is it you're going over specifically? Will I get it in training? Is it difficult to learn? How difficult is it to use? What do I need to do with this? When can I use it? What is the timeline for the implementation? Is there a sandbox to play in? How is the rollout planned? Where can I use it? Will the whole company be using it? Will all employees be required to use it? How will I get to it? How do I use it if it's allowed? When is it required? Are there going to be any power users? And then why would I want to use it? Changing from what I already know. Is it mandated? Is it optional? You need to answer those questions during your presentation. If you encounter a question that you do not have the answer, state so and get the answer back to the person that asked it, and preferably to everyone in the audience. You can do that by using the host or the facilitator to possibly forward that information to the rest of the audience. Now we're going to get into some other areas you'll have questions before the presentation, during it, and after it. As far as questions before you start, why should I come to the presentation? Is my boss making me? Is it a way to get away from my desk? Am I going to get something out of it? What's the value? Who is the presenter? What are their credentials? And then as the presenter, should you tickle and tease them beforehand with your thumbnail, title slide, title of the presentation? Or should you use shock and awe? Should you just throw it out there to them? It depends on your audience. During the presentation, if it's technical in nature, make sure you explain any acronyms we're going to talk about later. Just really dumb it down so that there's no excuse when you give it. Is there any need for clarification? And you can be aware of anything that may be annoying or distracting. Could be things outside the room, could be things inside the room, could be people. After the presentation, if you have questions, let everyone know your response. Restate the question and then give the response. And as I stated earlier, the facilitator can likely forward those for you. Use hooks. Talked briefly just a few moments ago. Use your thumbnail if you're using like a social media site. Make it attractive but somewhat appealing. Title slide here in PowerPoint. The title of the seminar / presentation. Your biography. And the introduction, which should be approximately 1 minute, no more than 2 minutes, telling the audience why they should trust what you're going to tell them. We're talking about questions that you can answer before the presentation, hopefully, before you finish building it and giving it. Give any references. Where did you get your information? Did I come up with this, or is there a standard out there, a standard operating procedure that would suffice? Follow up on any questions not answered. That's the most important thing. If you don't know, you don't know, but go find out. Have the audience help you answer questions. If you have some subject matter experts out there, let them raise their hands. And if you know who those people are, ask them to answer the question. It gives you a little bit of a break. So you want to think long on your questions before you build your presentation. Do not be condescending or superior in your answers, and make sure your content flows. You want to start from here and move to this point in some logical manner. Be aware that you may have people that want to monopolize the Q&A session or even the main presentation session. What I do is after 2 or 3 questions by one individual, I will try to handle their questions after the meeting or electronically, online, through a website or whatever case may be, SharePoint, whatever you have. Add humor when you can. It just lightens the load, takes a little pressure off you, breaks up the monotony, the monotone delivery, and it just lightens the entire load of the presentation. And we've already talked about involving your audience. Define any acronyms. CPG, cents per gallon. DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. PEL, permissible exposure limit. MHz, megahertz, and so on and so on. Make sure that everyone knows what the acronyms stand for so they will not generate another question that you could answer just by explaining the acronym. So to recap, use hooks before the event, thumbnails, title slides, titles, name of the presentation. Remember the 6 W's, the who, what, when, where, how, and why that needs to be answered. Be aware you'll have questions before the presentation, during the presentation, and possibly after the presentation. And you want to get back with the audience with those answers. And add humor to break up and lighten the presentation. It just makes it so much easier to absorb and to receive. So with that, thank you for watching. Please like, share, or subscribe this video. And happy PowerPointing. And when you give your presentation, get to the point. Don't belabor it. Say what you got to say and give some pauses so that they can receive the information and it can sink in. Thank you very much. Take care.